News at 5, a deadly incident in Middleton leaves 3 people dead and someone else hurt.
I'm Rachel Perry, live in Middleton, breaking down the latest in the investigation and the pieces still being put together.
And I'm Madison Rios, joining Rachel Perry with team coverage. I'll have you covered on what neighbors say they saw and heard coming up.
And Democratic Governor Tony Evers signs legislative maps he drew and Republican-controlled legislature passed last week.
Today is a victory, not for me or any political party, but for our state and the people of Wisconsin.
And the Dodge County Sheriff's Office is investigating 2 deaths in the Columbus area. What we know and whether officials believe they're connected.
We've got you covered. This is 27 News at 5.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Sarah Maslar-Donar.
And I'm Braden Taylor. Tonight, police in Middleton are piecing together evidence to find out what led up to a deadly situation that left multiple people dead and a man hurt.
This happened last night in the 6300 block of Maywood Avenue. That's just a few blocks away from Middleton High School to the west and Lakeview Park to the east. We have team coverage tonight. Madison Rios and Rachel Perry have been following developments in the case all day. Madison spoke with neighbors in the area and has what they saw and heard last night.
But first, let's send things out to Rachel Perry, who has more on what police say happened, Rachel.
Yeah, right now, Middleton police will only say 3 people were found dead inside this apartment behind me on Maywood Avenue. They also say 1 man was taken to the hospital with multiple gunshot wounds. Now, in a news release, Middleton police say they were called to Maywood Avenue off Allen Boulevard just after 7:30 last night. They were called for a check property complaint, which ended up being unrelated. While officers were in the area, they say a man came outside and told police he was shot. They started treating him for what they say was multiple gunshot wounds. Police eventually got inside the apartment and found 3 people dead. Dispatch audio from when officers first got on scene and information was still coming in details the moments EMS was called to help.
10-4, our patient is starting to lose consciousness.
Could you give us an update, please? What's the situation?
He's been shot in the back 2 times. He is bleeding. He's having chest issues. He's having trouble speaking to me.
Middleton police tell me the victims know each other but aren't releasing anything more right now out of respect for the family. Now, what we know about the man in the hospital coming up tonight at 6. But first, I want to bring in Madison Rios, who's been talking with people in the neighborhood. What are they telling you?
All right, so I've been door knocking in the area all day, talking to neighbors about what they could have heard or possibly seen last night. And for their own safety, they've asked to remain off camera. However, they did reveal details to me regarding the residents that lived in the taped off unit. The woman I spoke to lives right next door, and she tells me she pulled up to the apartment around 7:40 p.m. last night and saw a man stumbling near the driveway with a champagne bottle in his hand. She says when she started pulling into the lot, she saw police were crouched down behind the garbage cans with their guns drawn, and that's when they told her to stay back. Police escorted her to her apartment unit. A second neighbor was looking at the scene from his balcony and tells us his daughter heard the first few shots, and they thought that they were fireworks. We'll check back in here tonight on 27 News at 6 for any updates that we might have. But for now, reporting in Middleton, Madison Rios, 27 News.
Okay, Madison and Rachel, thank you for those updates. Meanwhile, the Middleton Cross Plains School District has announced that 2 Sauk Trail Elementary students have died. In a statement, the district said their loss stemmed from a, quote, devastating situation, and, quote, we understand that this will be a long and challenging road for our district community. Together, we will find the strength to heal and support one another during this difficult time. Resources will be available to those that need it. We asked, but the district would not confirm if this was connected to the Maywood Avenue incident we just told you about, and they referred us to police. Police also declined to confirm if the students' deaths happened on Maywood Avenue.
We are also following a developing investigation out of Dodge County where officials are looking into 2 deaths that they believe are connected. The first death happened on Oak Grove Drive in the town of Elba. That's the location marked on the upper right-hand portion of the map. The second death happened in the urgent care lobby of Prairie Right Health on Park Avenue. Now, that's on the bottom left of the map. The Dodge County Sheriff's Office is not releasing much, but they are running a joint investigation with other law enforcement agencies and does say there is no threat to the public.
New at 5, an officer was hurt when Madison police responded to what they called a chaotic scene. They responded to a home near Eakin Park on the east side of town last night. There was a disturbance, we're told, and police removed a person from the home. During that, an officer got a serious ankle injury. Then another person tried to disarm an officer from behind. That person was arrested, and both men involved were taken to the Dane County Jail.
Well, people who like warm weather will get much more of it this week. 27 Storm Track Chief Meteorologist Cameron Hotman is tracking those warmer days ahead. Hey, Cam.
Hey, Brandon, Sarah. Yeah, things are looking even warmer. If you thought today was nice and you're a fan of the warmth, just wait until you get a load of the rest of that extended forecast, because there is more where that came from. Right now, we are starting to see a few more of those light clouds roll back into the region, especially over these last couple of hours. That being said, I don't think anyone's complaining about it. Check out the shot from our tower camera right now. That sun beginning to set right there. Beautiful conditions across the area. Temperatures are comfortable as well. 43 degrees, your current temperature. Feels like 40 out there. Winds have weakened a little bit at this hour. Southerly winds sticking around not only this evening, but essentially for at least the next 24 to about 72 hours. As that occurs, temperatures will continue to indeed climb. Here's where we'll stand over the next few hours. Once that sun sets, things will cool. We're from 36 degrees at 6 o'clock back down to around 33 degrees by 8. I'll let you know exactly how far the mercury is expected to fall overnight tonight, and then we'll talk about more of that significantly and abnormally warm forecast. That's all coming up.
Maps that I'm signing today are fair, responsive, and reflect the will of the people.
Democratic Governor Tony Evers signed new legislative maps into law today, just about a week after the Republican-controlled legislature passed them.
The governor submitted the maps to the state Supreme Court after it overturned the state's current legislative maps in December. Political reporter Darielle Fair joins live now from the Capitol after getting a reaction from both sides of the aisle.
Brandon, Sarah, these maps are set to be in place ahead of the November general election. The governor and lawmakers say they are waiting for guidance from the state Supreme Court on whether current maps or the newly enacted ones will go into effect ahead of the primary and special elections this year. This was the second time Governor Evers' maps were considered by the legislature. Republicans moving forward with the vote to pass Evers' maps as is. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle weighed in on the newly enacted maps. Some Democrats argued that they were disappointed in the process Republican lawmakers took to pass Evers' maps, claiming they felt it was a decision that should have been left up to the court.
Well, certainly the new maps are a marked improvement on the heavily gerrymandered Republican maps that we've been living under since the 2010. Democrats in the legislature and many across the state wanted to allow the Supreme Court to complete that process, and that we would have a chance for fairer maps than the ones that have been signed into law.
Democratic Senator Kelda Royce going on to say, regardless, she is happy the state now has more competitive maps to ensure lawmakers are more accountable to the people. While the maps give Republicans a slight advantage in the Assembly and Senate, the GOP emphasized they only chose to move forward with the governor's maps because they were, quote, the most Republican-leaning out of the 4 maps Democrats submitted to the court.
I was carved out of my district by 581 feet. That's it. 581 feet. It was done intentionally, and it was done punitively. We will simply beat them at their own game, and we will come back. There's no question about it.
In Evers' proposed maps, Republicans and Democratic seats are evenly split between districts, Republicans holding 1 additional seat in the Assembly and Senate. 8 seats in the Assembly are predicted to be toss-ups. With the majority of lawmakers up for re-election next year, Wisconsin voters will be able to see a true shift in the composition of the legislature. Live from the Capitol, Darielle Fair, 27 News.
Still ahead, a new way to receive free life-saving medical supplies and resources in Sauk County. We've got you covered on the new tool that officials just unveiled.
And sleep is a critical tool for good health and development in teens, but many teens aren't getting enough. How parents can help them prioritize getting those Z's.